Is your family farm's future uncertain? Silence may be the biggest risk of all. Discover how open conversations and gradual planning can secure your legacy and empower the next generation. Don't wait, start the dialogue today. Learn more and download a transition planning checklist at fcc.ca/knowledge.
Prime Minister Mark Carney on Friday announced support for several sectors affected by tariffs, including agriculture, with Chinese tariffs still on Canadian canola, peas, pork, and seafood. And joining us here on Real Agriculture and Real Ag Radio, we're now pleased to have Canada's Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food, Minister Heath MacDonald. Minister, thanks for taking the time to join us once again.
Thanks, Calvin. It's great to be here.
Can you fill us in on the decision? I guess several measures here that are relevant for agriculture. There's an increase to the interest-free portion of cash advances. There's new incentives for biodiesel production domestically, as well as in increased investment in agri-marketing. Can you take us through the decision to implement these different policies and how you see them helping the canola sector through this time?
Well, I think they've been hit pretty hard with the Chinese tariff. So we've been talking about this a little while and talking to farmers, obviously, talking to the canola associations and the ministers, obviously. So we felt that, timing, we need to do something. And it's a start, Calvin. It's not the end. It's a start to where we are right now at the present time. I've been in this job a little over 100 days, and up until the last month or so, no one wanted to talk about biofuels, and now we're talking about biofuels, and we're looking to the future for them. So I was pretty happy with that decision and being able to be a part of it. So I know how important it is to the future of canola, and we want to make sure that we do everything possible domestically to enhance the market. So it's a good day. It's not the end, but it's a good day.
Can you provide any detail in terms of that incentive program? What it might look like? I know it's a 2-year timeline, and there's talk about amending the clean fuel regulations down the road. What type of changes is the government looking at making there?
Well, basically, it has to go through NRCan and ECCC, and it's a 2-year biofuel production incentive to support renewable diesel and biodiesel. So it's a little over $370 million. And then following on that curtail, we'll do the amendment to the CFR to support domestic biofuel producers. The latter will take likely a little longer, and I'm not saying 2 years, but it'll take a few months just to make sure, because it's a legislative process that we have to go through. But we will ensure that we, consult with industry and sector, those involved, to make sure that everything is going in the appropriate direction. So we'll be able to do some technical presentations to industry, I hope, in the near future through NRCan and ECCC. But look, it's something that has been talked about for a number of years, and I think we're seeing a prime minister that's being pretty aggressive and wants an economic lens put on everything, and this is part of it, and he gets it.
Do you see domestic biofuel production, especially in the kind of the renewable diesel, biodiesel space, as a potential long-term demand driver for Canadian agriculture? In the past, we've maybe focused more on exports. The U.S. government has maybe focused more on biofuels than what we have in Canada. Do you see increased need for biofuels to be part of the Canadian agriculture demand picture?
I think, it's part of the agriculture value chain, and I think it will. And I think it's important that we diversify a little bit and, I guess, as the old saying is, control what you can control. So I think this is part of that process, and we need to do everything we can. If you want to have the fastest growing economy, as I said several times before, and I've said this to Sean and the G7, and this is what the Prime Minister wants, agriculture is going to have to play a significant part in that. And I believe today, and I'll say this to you, but the announcement was held in an aerospace building today in Mississauga with hundreds of people there, and front and center in the conversation was agriculture. And, at first I thought, why the heck are we announcing this in this facility? But the more I thought about it, Calvin, I said, this is exactly what agriculture needs, to be exposed to these individuals walk through a grocery store and pick things off the shelves that expect it to be there. This is perfect. They get to see and hear front and center how important agriculture is to this country. So it was kind of an interesting day, but pretty rewarding at the end of it. And yes, I agree that domestically we need to do more.
Do you see the amendments to the clean fuel regulation putting more of an onus on driving domestic demand, not just on reducing greenhouse gas emissions, that there's a domestic production incentive built into it as well?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's, the amendments to the CFR are obviously to support the domestic biofuel producers and their feedstocks, and that includes canola. So, the amendments could target potentially fraudulent UCO. So I think this is all coming together, and I think, there's going to be more consultation, obviously, and technical reviews, but I think it's a real opportunity for us. And I think, at the end of the day, I think we're going to be better off for it.
Your colleague, Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister, Cody Blois, is headed to China along with Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe here over the next few days. What are your expectations for this trip in terms of who they are going to meet with and what the outcomes could be from this delegation headed overseas?
Well, we need to keep a presence over there, and I think it's a good move on the Premier's part, and having us tag along, I don't think is ever going to hurt, because I think it's an opportunity to say that they have the federal government in tow as well. But it depends. Look, the Chinese government is layered in bureaucracy, and sometimes it's difficult to meet with the right individuals. And sometimes you may even be meeting with them and not realize it. So it's a convoluted, layered bureaucracy, but I think it's a good thing anytime that we can put a face in front of a Chinese official from Canada. So I think, the expectation, I have no idea. Mr. Moe may know more of that, but certainly I spoke to Mr. Moe last Friday, late Friday night, and we had a discussion about China, and it was positive. We're all rowing in the same direction. We're doing everything we can to help one another at the provincial level, the federal level, and it's dialogue, and it's trying to build that relationship, trying to find that interest that both countries have, and if we can maintain that contact and that dialogue, then hopefully at the end of the day it'll be beneficial to us.
All right. Well, they're overseas. You're going to be here in Manitoba hosting the annual FPT Ag Ministers meeting. What are your priorities for this meeting as you get together with your provincial and territorial colleagues?
Well, I think, we have regional differences across this country, and I know, trade has taken up a lot of time and energy, obviously, but we can't forget about the other sectors either. And I think we need to make sure that we stay focused not just on the trade tariff issues, but the other sectors that are competing for our time in that. So hearing from the ministers firsthand, that's usually what you get. It's their regions, and so I'm there to listen and hopefully thereafter act. And that's part and parcel of what we're dealing with today. That's where that came from. A lot of it, from our last meeting we had in the summer. Biofuels was a conversation that we had about. So, we're moving in the right direction. We're doing everything we can as fast as we can. There's further EV reviews going to be done by the government of Canada as well, which was announced today. There's a couple other programs that could be part of, agriculture. The Regional Tariff Response Initiative is it includes agriculture goods. It's a $450 million over 3 years and $1 billion over 5 years, non-repayable contributions. So then we have a strategic response fund, which is the SURF fund, which was basically, for steel, aluminum. Now we have agriculture, canola mentioned in that. So there's some good things come out of today's announcement, and we just have to, make sure we get the correct information to the right people to ensure that they understand it.
All right. I know you're running up against a deadline here, Minister. I want to quickly ask you, though, I know you were speaking on the phone with somebody else south of the border just before speaking with us here. Why don't you fill us in on that conversation?
Well, look, Alvin, it's yeah, I had the opportunity to have a discussion with Secretary Rollins, and just we touching base. We talk a little bit about trade and the importance of agriculture to both countries and how we're integrated. And we had a good general conversation. It won't be the last for sure, but things are you have to maintain that communication. It's extremely important, and so we both agreed that we'll continue to do that.
All right. Is this the first time that you've connected with her?
No.
No? Okay. There have been other conversations? Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your time today, and looking forward to hopefully connecting with you and the other provincial ministers in Winnipeg early next week.
All right. Hope to see you there.